All right. We're live on YouTube. Welcome back to the channel,
Okay.
guys. We are Guided Primal Sutra podcast. We are co-founders of Primal Sutra. Welcome to this incredible podcast where today we're talking all about ancestral communication
Yes.
and how we talk to our ancestors, essentially.
Hmm. Hmm.
And of
Hmm.
course, myself and Ryan G are both going through a kind of a metaphysical upgrade right now. So, like, one side of his head is hurting, and the other side of
Yeah.
my, uh,
And life
yeah.
just continues,
Anyway.
man. You still gotta study. You still
Life
gotta
just
go to
goes
work.
on.
That's because you still
Exactly.
gotta train.
Right.
Meanwhile, it might have to do with the ancestral thing. I don't know yet, but we'll see. Right.
Yeah.
What is the definition of ancestral healing or connection with ancestors? What do we mean by that? What does
Mm,
Primal Sutra mean by
mm,
that?
mm. That's a good question. Well, I think that first of all, we have to understand that you chose your specific family line before birth.
Hmm.
Like that's how the Nexus understands it. And it wasn't just for the good, but it was also for the specific pains. So you selected a precise karmic deck of cards to play your purpose through, basically. So
Uh-huh.
ancestry basically influences more than our past lives. That's so ancestral healing is a relationship, right? It's not a task, it's a lifelong thing. And the more you honor it, the more richer and more dimensional your life starts to become.
I understand. I understand.
Yeah.
Which means, and I'm just speaking theory at the moment, the things about you that you like or dislike have already been disliked or liked by the family that you're a part of.
Which
And
is
if
why you shouldn't
that's
give a fuck.
thank you, TXL. TXL, everybody from the Zoom call. Anyway, um, which means if within the family there is external suppression of feminine qualities, that suppression is also internalized. TXL
Hmm.
apologizes. He says, "My bad, I didn't know. It was alive yet. You're forgiven,
All good, bro.
TXL." The timing was funny. The
That's for
timing was funny.
it
I
was
had
it
a
was it was
feeling he didn't
actually
meant to
great
do
timing,
that.
comedic timing. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's really interesting to notice that the word ancestor, like the etymology, I'm just looking it up now, is antecessor. So the one who goes before.
Hmm.
So it means the forerunners, right? In a
Hmm.
sense, it's like a precedent before power.
Right.
So it's almost like a inheritance that it has shaped us for thousands of lives, our auras, our reaction, our gifts, our curses. And yeah, I think it's like an ancestral bleed through, like all of our guides, all of our different things that we go through, it's
Okay.
all just an ancestral group. It's like the ancestors are bleeding through into this reality, and that's how we're able to kind of piece everything together.
And don't mind me asking this, but would that then mean that there's a possibility that the spirit guides that I am working with right now might have also worked with my ancestors
Some way, yeah.
in some way? Okay, okay, okay. Interesting. Which means,
Because your ancestors live inside you, right? In a
right,
sense. So
right,
if you
DNA,
disown
right,
them, you're disowning yourself. You're disowning a part of your own soul.
right. Which is a shame. Don't disown your culture, your blood, regardless of history. You have to own what it is, which is,
Yeah.
in some cases, easier said than done. For me, for example, um, I'm technically Indian, but I've never been to India. Well, at least not in the past. We might hit up Goa at some point because I would like to go to the surfing country, place of India. Um,
Goa. Go to Goa. Yeah.
go to Goa. Anyway, and the point is, I can imagine the moment I go to my home country, when I mean home country, either I mean Suriname and or the country of my ancestors, which is India, likely India, um, I'm gonna get empowered, not just by the culture or, whatever, but especially through the DNA activations, the reconnection to, let's say, the mother tree. Because,
Yeah.
from my end, my family is a branch of the Khan family. Would be good to reconnect at some point. But that's a little bit of my end. What about you, Simon? What can you say, or what are you allowed to say about your family line?
Um, well, I know that I have a Kuladeva, which is like your family deity. So that's Shiva, essentially. And we used to have this Shiva temple with three shivlings that these Nagas would come into. And so
Right?
that's kind of a background of my family and
Mm,
the knowingness of that. Apparently, there's also a Kameshwari or something. There's some other goddess temple that I own in terms of my family lineage. So that's
mm.
both of those I know. So it's one is a male energy, one is a female energy. So that's kind of a very interesting split, right? Um,
Mm. If
Drinking
ever,
water from your
yeah,
ancestral lands, by the way, I've just sorry, I'm in Nix's energy, so
okay.
I'm like
Go ahead,
feeling
go
the
ahead, go ahead.
water element. So like drinking water from your ancestral land is a very kind of sacred act because it reactivates the dormant code. So it's
Hmm.
like a liquid download of origin and return, right? In a way. Because water holds memory. So
What it does hold memory. So let's say you're someone like me whose ancestors are technically from India, whereas I've never been to India, right? I have
yeah.
noticed that the moment I go to Suriname in South America, I'm from that place technically, I do feel empowered, like I'm reconnecting to that branch of the family. But then I can
Yeah.
imagine the moment I'm there, let's say in Uttar Pradesh, I might have such a empowered state that I might not be able to recreate that after that trip. So, how can one still get the same benefits without necessarily being at that location? Is it even possible?
I think it's good to be around the ley lines and so forth, but I think
Fair.
if they are already inside you, if they're living as a pattern through your breath, through what you do, so it's almost like you have to first know how are your ancestors communicating with you, which is the topic of this podcast, right?
Mm,
So I've noticed, at least this is just my own perspective, is like you get this lingering sense your life is meant to be bigger, different, or greater, even when you feel like unsupported. It's almost like your ancestors are whispering to you, you are the one to go
interesting.
further than we did. So that sign of this greater life
Hmm.
feeling is an ancestral contact, according to me. So whatever you're drawn to, your interests are instructions. If you like music, ritual, travel, herbalism, I don't know, it's your lineage activating.
Yeah.
Your hobbies are
Just.
their hidden hands. So that means we have to follow those gentle nudges from them.
Yeah.
If something got lost, you're here to bring it back, says Chief Deno. Yeah.
Hmm. A few things. We might have to do Primal Sutra in India at some point. It would be chill for you to not have to spend a lot of money and having people come towards you. It would be cool. It would be so cool to go and visit the shrines of your family, etc.
Yeah.
Now, maybe it might not be in UP, and I have no idea how to go from Calcutta to UP, but we can figure that out at some point.
I
Um,
was thinking it'd be cool to also go to Tibet sometime, but yeah, we'll talk about that later. I think we're already speaking it into existence, but yeah.
exactly, exactly. The main deal, or let me rephrase this from the adepts from Rasmussen. He's been asking questions on, or at least introducing topics on awakening ancestral memories and knowledge, which we have spoken about briefly, ancestral veneration, and
Right.
connecting, of course, with deceased loved ones. We haven't specifically um mentioned the topic of, or even talked about the topic of ancestry veneration. What
Yeah.
does the Nexus have to say about this without revealing too much about the how?
Um, Sometimes the only way that this kind of ancestral work starts is when you make a decision and you kind of show them what's possible. So it's like your courage is kind of the best offering, I would say, to them. Because,
Hmm,
like, let's say you're going through an opportunity right now, right? You're struggling with it. The doors are all open, but you freeze. I would say that's not failure. That's a lineage muscle that just needs to stretch through that experience.
right.
So they want you to see your potential. Like they see your potential even when you don't see your potential. That's the way that I understand activating their reverence or their codes because your intuition and sensitivity don't just come online randomly. They activate when you begin the work. And the work is you start speaking to your ancestors as if they're a part of your life already. So,
Hmm,
like, when you go to the store and you're like, Mom, I'm going to go to the store, right? You tell them, you speak to your mother, and maybe she tells you a few things to get or whatever, and then you kind of go on with your day, right? Or
right.
dad, I'm moving to a new place, or something like this. It's the same courtesy that you need with your ancestors, your spirit kin. So, hey, great great granddad, I know you're still watching. I know you're still guiding me. I got to make this big move. I'm shifting countries and I'm getting married, let's say.
Yeah.
Not because they don't already know, but because we're inviting them in to the conversation that we're having. So to get
Hmm,
them to actually sense, I see you, I feel you, you know, go with me,
hmm,
or like walk with me through this next chapter that I'm about to accomplish. So it's about resonance, connection, and of course the energetic consent, because you are going into the past. You don't necessarily need to be a medium to do this. I think you just need the most eclectic, potent, alive version of you to speak to them. And
right.
healing your lineage heals you. You're not just a descendant, you're dreaming forward. Is there a word for like future ancestors? I've always wondered this.
Well, descendants,
Descendants? Mm.
because they come after us, they become the future ancestors.
Right, descendants. Got it. Mm. But yeah, it's more so a calling. It's not like therapy,
Mm,
right? So your ancestors are giving you sight, and they've marked you to heal what's gone unresolved through generations. So you're the generational curse breaker now. You're the black sheep of the family or whatever. You're the one to say, no, I'm actually going to go this way. Maybe your entire family lineage for so many years has been strung with dogma and
mm,
weird, shadowy stuff in the background with shady people. Now you're being called to be honest, to be open, right? So that's your calling, actually. Maybe your family hasn't been honest like that in the past. But now
right.
it's almost like you're awakened to the moment, right? You're like, you have to do this now because this nomadic wisdom runs in your blood or whatever. Or maybe I was a trader in the past or a voyager, I don't know. So if you feel called to leave your community or try new ways of living or whatever it is to wonder the world, just know that it's not rebellion. It is actually maybe your ancestors wanting
Mm,
you to resolve whatever it is that needs to be resolved.
kind of
Yeah,
like Moana.
exactly. Mana comes up a lot, bro. I swear. Yeah.
Mm,
All right, let's see some of these comments. Okay.
Hmm.
Mathis is saying changing the name and bloodline also interesting. Yeah, what lineage you continue in terms of family. If you marry, for example, the woman gets your name, even if name is man and man is name. How does the fiction symbols of passports, etc., work in the ancestry work and Primal Sutra? Yes, so going back to what we'd learned from the Nexus is that, well, your name is one third of your soul, so it is basically conducting a part of your mission. It's not your whole mission, but of course, it is giving you that leverage in a sense. If you have a name that aligns with your path, right? Now, I don't think the spiritual world really recognizes passports or stamps or bureaucratic documents like that, but I do think that they read the resonance and the energy of the names and the blood. And it's almost like a chi line, right? So it's an energetic line from your family that's passed on.
Right.
So, like, I notice this, bro. Like, when I feel this sense of anxiety, I know that it's not even me. It's my ancestors who've gone
Mm.
through something, and it's still in my blood. It's still in my system, and it's kind of this weird genetic component of this thing. And I just have to kind of zoom out and be like, that's not me. That's my ancestors warning me about something, or it's not this self-induced panic as I think. It's like my ancestors are giving me clues so that I could start shifting and actually moving in the right direction again. So that's kind of how I've reframed at least my own understanding with this, and of course with the help of the Nexus. So let's see here. Carry their dreams and they'll cherish your efforts. Yep. The gravestone of my great great granddad is in the place where our four turtles are, and Big Turtle is a guide to me. So that's interesting. Yeah,
Mm.
animals are very, very prominent and effective when it comes down to ancestral work. Now, animal spirits oftentimes show up as messengers from the other side, so where the veil is thinning. Um, Ryan G, I think you had an experience with animals like a goldfish or something, and I
My
also had
mom.
an experience with animals. Yeah.
Hmm.
You want to speak a little bit about that?
To keep it short,
Or, yeah.
there's a forest nearby, and mom likes to feed the ducks and the fish, etc. And
Yeah.
it's pretty funny to suddenly see a massive goldfish, pretty much the size of a koi, like with gold plating, scales or whatever. Soon up, you guys start eating. She took a picture, sent it to me, and then his housemate and I found out that it was her father sending a message to face
Right.
whatever comes her way. So that.
Right. Yeah. And that gut feeling or that dream that you had with a great grandmom or something, don't deny it as like, oh, that's deja vu, or stop brushing it off. That's the real lesson here. It's like, don't brush these things off. Treat them as holy, as sacred.
Hmm.
So that's when you really the communication, spirit communication starts getting louder. It's like an old
Hmm.
man hitting you on the head, right?
Yeah, like Rafiki from Lion King. Yeah, exactly.
Like exactly like Rafiki from Lion King. Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting
Hmm.
how we call our deities or our spirit guides nicknames that connect us to family, uncle this, brother this, father this, sometimes king, sometimes other ones too. However, at the same time, it really goes to show you that the more connected you are to these guides and your ancestors, the more you're going to get these deeper revelations about your life. But it's
Hmm.
just in the past, maybe you weren't looking for this. Clearly you found this video today for a reason, this podcast. So if you feel called to, honor them, then honor them. It's the best thing I could say. I mean, set up an altar for them specifically, an ancestral altar.
Exactly.
Why not? You know? And you can put in even your own memories in there. You can put in your own art as an offering to them. There's so much you can do because, again, like I said, we chose this thing, right? Way, way back.
Mhm.
So talk to your ancestors like they've been waiting for you.
Mhm. 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 Hmm.
They didn't die, right? They just stepped behind the veil. Their love is still there, their wisdom is still active, their protection is always on. So they're not like these you're not conjuring ghosts, right? You're not conjuring dead memories, you're remembering your seats at the council of the
Right.
elders. Yeah.
Right. Why should they care about this topic, Sumit?
Mm, because otherwise you're going to stay in the same cycles, you know? To rise higher, you
Mm.
have to understand that they're going to hold you accountable. They're going to check in on you. You prayed for this, so where's your follow through, buddy? Right? They're not going to
Yeah.
leave you. They won't stop loving you. I mean,
Yeah.
don't just do it for nostalgia, nostalgic purposes. Do it for the activation. So to help you actually be the living extension of their dream and your dream together.
Hmm.
Let's see if there are any other questions.
Anything on YouTube?
I haven't I haven't checked the yeah, the YouTube is just Os Brothers from Galena and
Yo.
yeah, Ellie's here.
Yeah, like,
Hey there, love. All right.
let's check the channel.
Okay,
All
so
right.
Aang and his ancestors says TXL Aang the Airbender saying statues galore in India.
Mm-hmm.
Don't drink the water in Mexico. Okay,
Don't.
gotcha. Um projection always works. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I love astral projecting to like old places, like
Hmm.
places from my past. It feels very
Hmm.
welcoming. Yeah, it
Should
always
you do
feels
an astral
welcoming.
projection workshop one time, Sumit?
Yeah, I possibly could. Um, I think people first have to learning how to work with their own energy centers first. So maybe like a pre-class and then a master class or something. Yeah. Or I can
I
include it
agree.
as an intro and then yeah.
I agree.
Because you need
I
to
agree.
learn that before you step into like Merkaba mode, okay? Like you it's there's levels to it, yeah. So
Indeed.
yeah, also like the power of your imagination. You watch all these shows and maybe sometimes they leave you with like these inherent feelings. Like I remember crying at the Last Samurai movie, and I don't know why. Well, probably because of maybe I had a life as a samurai, who
Hmm.
knows? So these movies will hit you different when you look through the lens of your ancestral power. Like I can't watch Indian movies the same ever. I can't. Even if they're silly
Hmm.
Bollywood ones. I just see through that lens automatically. So
Hmm. Good.
it's really
Good.
about the filter and how you see the world, right? So if you're seeing it as a
Perception creates
spiritual,
reality.
exactly, yeah.
Hmm. We have about 1 minute left. We're still heading to
Wow.
Sedona this year. More updates will follow. Um, the overall conclusion of this podcast has to do with there is some usefulness to venerating your ancestors. I do not know how religions necessarily think of this, but I do think and believe that saying hi to grandpa and grandma every now and again it does have its benefits. Anything from you, Sumit?
Yeah, like you came here not to just heal pain, but to revive your ancestral gifts.
Mm,
So the goal has always been integration, not rejection. So if you're really interested in craftsmanship or music or whatever comes up as a theme, just trust in that, and the ancestral healing will allow you to sort of pay your debt forward, the karmic debt forward. And it's really a beautiful way of living differently because you're choosing differently. So yeah, that's all I got to say on this topic, man.
Fantastic. And I
Yeah.
believe this has been our time. This has been Guided Primal Sutra GPS with me, Ryan G, and Sumi Chatterjee, aka Uncle Makara. I wish you the very best. May your life never be the same again. Good morning, good evening, and good